Hello, everybody, and welcome to the MMA podcast. I did one of those beginner moves and had the volume up on the iPad, Alan.
I heard that. I didn't know what that was.
And the feedback in there. Hey, folks, Karyn Bryant here with
Alan Jouban. What's up, everyone?
So how are you? So yeah, we have a live stream going here. So obviously, if you have any questions or anything you want to talk about, you can go ahead and type in there. I think I have everything right here, and I can get to your comments. If not, they always go away right when I start the show, and then I have to go through this whole thing and find them away. I'll find them, though. I'll get to you. But listen, Alan, UFC 251 going down this weekend. We'll get into all of that. We have 3 title fights to talk about. But what is the latest with you? I know you had a little boxing practice earlier today, right?
Yeah, I went and did some boxing, feeling really good, really sharp. My coaches like the way that I'm looking right now, so it's positive feedback. You know, getting the feedback, because you have to trust your coach. And if they're saying you're not ready yet or this or that, you got to put that in, think about that. But they said I look good, feeling sharp. So we put the word in to my manager. Mm-hmm. He reached out to the UFC finally, to Sean Shelby, told him in a couple of weeks, I'll probably start my camp so we can kind of start thinking about getting back in the mix. 2 months from now, end of September, early October type of date. So we're just waiting. Now it's the waiting game, So did the work to kind of get to this point. Now I'll kind of wait to hear back from Sean Shelby, see what they're thinking, who they have in mind for me, and then find a date and start camp. So it's exciting. It's fun to kind of get these this feeling again, to start feeling sharp and athletic again, to get these kind of jitters of the UFC calling me and letting me know who they want me to fight and win. So I'm excited. I'll let you know as soon as I hear something. Right now, with me, normally they'll give me a couple of weeks. Sometimes I'll have to wait until they have a name in mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, the cool thing with you, though, is everybody's been itching to see you fight, right? So as soon as you get ready, too, you've been around enough that you could slide into a spot with a higher profile person, like, that whole stay ready so you don't have to get ready thing. I mean, we're going to get into this, but look what happened with Street Jesus right now. Masvidal's in a title fight, So the cool thing for you is that not only does the welterweight division have so many great names, but like there are a lot of great options for you.
And that's exactly what I would love. I mean, if I had my way, I told them this already. I said, look, I would love to come back with a name as somebody who's been in the sport at least as long as me or longer,
right?
Who I respect, and so I'd love to get a veteran name. I say a veteran fighter. I don't mean that in the old, but I just mean somebody who's been around,
right?
Been around, who's a fan-friendly guy. So we'll see what they come back with. But right now, I'm throwing those names out there, those type of fighters out there to see what sticks, and if they come back with one of them, I'm going to jump on it.
Well, it'd be cool. And it's funny because I'm going to Fight Island and we were supposed to see Nicholas Dalby versus Dan Hot Chocolate. But Dan Hot Chocolate is out of that fight now. But if you and Dan Hot Chocolate fought, the ladies would go crazy. Nobody would know who to root for. It'd be model versus model. It'd be cats and it'd be insane, Alan.
I was trying to think of some type of marshmallows in the hot chocolate, but it got weird. So I stayed away from it. But yes, me and Hot Chocolate were supposed to fight one time. In Germany, that's when I had my neck surgery. I had to pull out.
Right,
he went and had a successful fight. So that's one that we probably would have to run back eventually.
I'm just saying the timing could work out, and he's such a good dude too. Like I've worked a few of his fights last year and stuff, and such a nice guy. And I know Nicholas Dalby was gutted that fight wasn't happening because Dan's a great opponent. So well, that could be something cool. Well, I too, Alan, am excited to get back to work. I am leaving on Thursday. I have to go to Vegas first, get tested and quarantined there, and then go to Abu Dhabi Friday night and stuff. And I'll be working the last 2 shows over there. So that means I am working the Benavidez-Figueiredo rematch, and I'm working Till versus Whitaker, which I can't even that fight is ridiculous. But also over there, we're going to have Gastelum versus Hermanson. We got Verdum going up against Alexander Gustafsson. So there's a lot of great fights on there, but I have to go so early, because of the quarantining. So we'll go early and then I'll get over there and then still have to just sit in my hotel room for a couple of days or 36 hours or something over there. So I think that's why, because I'm going away, for so much longer, but it's because you have to build in these buffers of all the testing part on the front end. So I saw John Gooden got there and then had finally posted okay, now I'm allowed outside my room,
right.
So it'll be good.
We were just talking about this. Me and Karyn were talking about this right before we went live, but Fight Island has been such a it was this magic that, is it real? Is it fake? Where is it at? Everybody wants to go. And if I was offered the opportunity, I would still jump on it. But I'm also very business-wise, but I do think that, like, if I could travel to Vegas and a 3.5-hour drive from LA,
right,
and then be home 4 days later after a fight, rather than go all the way to Fight Island through the quarantining, the time, the flight, it's a big deal. It's a lot. And getting into, one of the fights on there for Jorge Masvidal to not only accept this fight on short notice, but accept this fight on short notice against the caliber of opponent that he's going against in Fight Island, 12-hour time difference, through multiple quarantining in Vegas, and then once you get there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have time to even think about, how do I structure my training? How do I structure my sleeping? He's just got to go and do the thing. And I saw him boarding the plane in a Versace robe.
Yes.
It looks like he's not giving two F's about
he doesn't.
The itinerary. I don't think he has an itinerary.
Right.
I think he's just going with the flow of things right now.
Yeah, I love Masvidal. I mean, it's a great opportunity for him. And look, we know what happened to Bisping when Bisping got 10 days notice to fight Luke Rockhold, right? So anything can happen. I think it's an uphill battle for a lot of reasons. I was out jumping my rope earlier today, and I'm trying to acclimate myself, Alan. It's 91 degrees out on my patio, and I was out there, going, and I had the fights on. And so I'm watching, Kamaru and Colby again, which was such a great fight. And Kamaru's a beast, and like he came on so strong and finished that fight in the 5th round. We know it was a very competitive fight, but he's looking and feeling like a champion these days. I think it's a big uphill battle for Masvidal. I say that, but I mean, anything can happen. But my gut tells me it's going to be on still, but I don't know.
I have to agree with you. You look, and if I'm talking about the more favorable fighter personally to me, I can't help it. I have to go with Masvidal just because he's a fun guy to watch. You know what I mean? But if we're talking about the more well-rounded, and look, Masvidal is an extremely well-rounded fighter, but we're talking about bigger, stronger, better grappling, Kamaru, Usman. I mean, obviously, if we're gonna say who's better or what, we're gonna say Masvidal is probably the slicker striker and Usman's the stronger grappler. Mm-hmm. But they're both so good everywhere. But as you just mentioned, that last fight with Usman, the way that he was just able to control everything and stay on the feet and continue the dominant striking and then grapple when he needed to. There wasn't much grappling in that fight, but
there wasn't.
That he could do when he went against a former champion in Tyron Woodley. So we know that he possesses that. And to think that he was training to go against Gilbert the entire time, he had to be doing so many hard rounds of grappling and then getting back to the feet and then hitting pads with his coach, preparing for that type of battle. Now he's going against Masvidal, who's going to be predominantly more of a striking fight. But I feel like if it's a smaller cage and if he puts Masvidal against the cage, he's going to have a much easier time. I say easier in terms of easier time in comparison to what he was going to expecting against Gilbert. Gilbert's going to be much stronger and higher level grappling in the clinch compared to what he's going to face against Masvidal. But Masvidal has that thing that he can just turn it on, that X factor, get that knockout victory with the knee or the hands or something like that. So Masvidal, in my opinion, needs to do something big early, because if the fight slows down and Usman's able to get his hands on him and put him in the cage every round, it's going to be a long fight for Masvidal.
Well, yeah, you bring up a couple of things, too. Even just the last thing you said, a bit big. That makes me think of the size thing. Masvidal, we know, is a former 55er. I don't think there's a way on earth that Kamaru, in the last, I don't know, when he's a funny guy, right? Because I actually work with Kamaru a lot, and I'm wider than him, like through the hips and stuff, I mean, he's very narrow through the hips, like to the point where I was like, damn. Like, really, bro? You're like, really? Like, but obviously once you get him, whatever. But I was like, he's not very wide and stuff like that, but he is a big guy. And just watching that fight with Colby again, knowing Colby's size and what Colby can take, like some of the power that Kamaru was landing was pretty massive on the one, the whole famous one where we thought that he maybe had broken Colby's jaw. When I watched it again today, I was like, my God, like that was a hell of a punch. We know he's going to have a lot longer arms than Masvidal, but Masvidal has that I don't give a you-know-what, right? And so it is a year ago, like we're right at that year anniversary of the Askren knee. Like Masvidal is just so swagadocious. He has so much confidence and so much belief, and it's like, and he could totally, of course, get it done. That boxing is insane. Like it's not impossible, obviously. I don't know. We know that, Kamaru has been, since he and Gilbert were teammates at one point, we know that he went out to Denver, so he's been training out there. The champ's been putting rounds in with Gaethje. So if you can handle sparring with Gaethje and that kind of thing, you're getting ready for anything. Let's just say ready for anything. And while I do think Jorge is very technical and all that, if you can stand the onslaught of offense, you know what I mean, from Justin Gaethje, and get used to that kind of thing. Like, I just feel that Kamaru is going to be better prepared, but shoot, I don't know.
No, I completely agree. He will be better prepared. He's been having this date in the books for quite a long time. Masvidal has not. He made the commitment to switch his camp and go train at altitude with guys like Justin Gaethje and others that you mentioned already. So he's been going against high-level guys with altitude training and all that stuff in preparation for this day that he has been having marked in his calendar for quite a while. Masvidal, on the other hand, is the complete other end of the spectrum. Got the call last minute. He's doing negotiations while watching Netflix and everything 2 days ago. And he's making a quick flip right now, going to Vegas and hitting it up. Yeah, he's been training, and they said he was training with Poirier. But Poirier fought already, a couple weeks ago. Right. And it's a different, we're talking about a 55er versus a 70. Yeah. And so it is good that we know that he's not doing a Nate Diaz. He's not coming off the couch on vacation, drinking margaritas, smoking joints, and coming and fighting. Although we know what happened in that fight when Nate Diaz came off the couch and still beat Conor McGregor. Yeah. But with that said, at least it's good to know that Masvidal has been training. But it's completely opposite circumstances. But you know what I got to say? This is the state that the UFC is in right now. I mean, all fighters in general right now are begging to be in the UFC because we're the only ones really rocking and rolling. So we're very fortunate to have a company that's getting things going and making it happen. But with that said, it's kind of still the wild, wild west. I mean, we're not getting 2-3 month fight camps. Some guys, this is another one coming up with Max Holloway. Max Holloway saying that he hasn't sparred this entire camp. He was training on Zoom with his coaches. I mean, Max Holloway, one of the best, one of the GOATs, one of the greatest guys we've ever seen. And he's a gamer like as Masvidal is. But to think that he's going into a title fight without even having adequate training it blows my mind. But that's what you have to do right now. You got to get it done.
Yeah, it is a wild, wild west in a lot of ways, and it is if you've never been a stay ready, so you don't have to get ready person. If quarantine hasn't taught you that, then you really missed a valuable lesson. But see, in that case, I think it's different because Holloway Volkanovski is a rematch, and so even though he's not getting the training and the this and that, Maxi Baby is Maxi effing Baby already, and it's a rematch. So at least he knows what he's dealing with and has actual finite proof of what went wrong, what went right, where did I not make how sooner should I have made this adjustment, XYZ. So in that case, I am bothered by it, but I also am not necessarily bothered by Max not taking more, hits to the head. We know that this man is so much a person who just lives in that firefight, right? And we've all talked about before with that weight cut and stuff. Is Max the same Max that we've always had, right? So I'm all for Max not sparring. That's fine with me. And I don't think it's as much of a problem being a rematch. I think it's going to be more of a concern for Jorge. And also the thing for me is if it goes late in the rounds, Kamaru has definitely gone deeper, you know what I mean? More often and stuff like that. So the longer it goes, the better it is for Kamaru. And the also thing though about it is in a way, Masvidal really has nothing to lose because he wasn't supposed to, quote unquote, supposed to have this fight anyway. He gets it last minute, rolls in like the BMF or in the robe on the private jet. So what if he loses? If he wins, come on.
And how perfectly could it have played out? How any more perfectly could it have played out? He's in negotiations saying that I want the money, and the UFC was not budging. And then Gilbert gets hurt, and now the UFC comes calling him saying, we need you. Now he has all the leverage in the world. And now he's getting the money that he wants. I think I saw somewhere that he said it's not quite the money, but it'll do. So they met somewhere halfway, and it was enough. It was a bump in pay, and it was a title shot. I mean, what more do you want? You're getting the money and the title shot. I'll say this. It would be fun and a moment in time to experience if Masvidal was able to pull this out. If he was able to pull this off, it would be just an unforgettable thing. You just think about all the things that occurred to happen during quarantine at this time in the world, and he doesn't get tested positive. None of his coaches do. He makes it to Vegas on all the things we just explained, and he pulls off a win at one of the most so far dominant champions that we've seen thus far in this couple of fights. Usman is looking to be very dominant.
Yeah, it's funny, Alan, because I used to not be an everything happens for a reason person. That quote used to drive me crazy, and I hated it. Yeah. And then a couple of things happened last year where things lined up so perfectly, and I was like, damn, everything happens for a reason. And it was one of those things that I couldn't predict, and it was just really strange. But anyway, you're right. It could be this whole confluence of things. Could you imagine him standing there with a BMF belt on one shoulder and the UFC strap on the other? Like, come on.
How much more could his stock go up? But what I was kind of getting to was it would be an amazing experience for us all to witness if he was able to accomplish this. With that said, I do not want to see him win the belt and then go and call out guys like Nate Diaz as title defenses or Stephen Thompson's, because to me, then that just doesn't make any sense. I've seen that Masvidal said if he won the belt, then he would want to run it back with Nate Diaz for the title shot or try to rebound off of the loss that he did to Stephen Thompson a couple of years ago. And to me, that just doesn't make sense. Now we're talking about holding up the division. I wouldn't want to see that. I would have to think that Dana White would not be in for any of that. I think he would either want another rematch or the Leon Edwards fight. Or, I mean, there's a number of fights. You put Masvidal up there. There's already a number of fights in the welterweight division that could be for whoever the champion is. I mean, Gilbert could be up there. Leon could be up there. It could be a rematch with Usman. A number of guys. But, yeah, to throw names out like Diaz or Stephen Thompson just yet, I hope that's not something. Look, I'll say this. If he wins the belt, he does deserve to call his own shots, and I would give him all the power. He's earned it, but it doesn't make sense when you talk about what's next in line for the welterweight division. If
it's one of those guys. But what if it's Conor,
For the welterweight, oh, my God. But as much
Dude, Conor versus Masvidal for the welterweight strap would sell all of the pay-per-views in the world.
It would be the biggest fight in history, probably. It would be bananas. But I don't think Conor deserves to jump the welterweight line like that. You know what I mean?
Deserves. Alan, you're hilarious. You're hilarious with your deserves.
I can't do that to my welterweight people. Go jump the lightweight line, Conor, but don't mess with the welterweights. I know you look phenomenal against Cowboy.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of guys that he would have a tough time with in that
well, whatever. But listen, also to the point about getting paid, though, I'm also thinking that Masvidal could just roll over to Abu Dhabi and get a little extra gold over there, too. Like, I'm sure he was well incentivized. You can't be Masvidal coming in and saving the day like this and not getting bank. And, when you see Malky just tweeting out smiley faces and stuff like that, like, I have a feeling, it worked out pretty well. I'm curious. I want to see if we have any questions here or which way people are trending here on this. It seems like, let's see. Well, I don't know if people are having one opinion or another on this one necessarily. People just seem to be excited about them. And hey, little Snoop and Joe Boza, we got our regulars here, so thank you. I also am noticing Wade making a comment here about the audio sometimes does slip, so we're apologizing for that. I don't really know. He knows what happened. While I'm on that subject, I'll say we do these as an audio download at MMA.audio. So if the video is a little funky and you just want to hear us, you can always go over there. But yeah, so I guess in the main event there, I am thinking it's going to be Ant still. Kamaru is so well-rounded and just really, like I was saying before, just really feels that ownership of the championship there. I feel like he's just really in the zone, but anything can happen for sure. Yeah. But that co-main event, I don't know how this one will go because I watched it again and I don't know how you felt the first time, but like I thought it was competitive. And then I've seen some things where people are like, oh, it wasn't competitive at all. And then I watched it again today and I was like, no, it did seem competitive. But then the more I watched it, I was like, nah, Alex kind of knew everything he was doing the whole time. And like, he did kind of, I mean, Max had some great shots, but it did look like most of the time Max was like, oh, wait, what? Like, what? Like, Volkanovski definitely did seem like he had his number that time.
I agree. I mean, everything you just said. You know, my boxing coach asked me today, "What do you think about that fight?" And I was like, "Well, where do I begin?" But you know, Max Holloway, one of my favorite guys, always a gamer, and will go down in the Hall of Fame one day. But when you look at what happened in their last meeting, Alex just seemed in control. Yes, it was a competitive fight. It was not a one-way street at all. But Alex was never really in danger. He seemed so in control of his body, the distance. The bigger shots were landing. When Max did land, they didn't seem to phase Volkanovski at all. His confidence never wavered. He stayed. I feel like he did all the right things at all the right times in that fight. And he just seems like such a guy that is continually getting better and better. We've seen the type of champions and fighters that come out of the camp where he trains and all the other guys. But he, not one fight, he's had a number of great fights at the UFC. But for that one championship fight that he has done, he has impressed me probably greater than most other champions in their first time taking the title fence. To go 5 rounds and to do that type of fight, that's a Max Holloway fight. He loves those type of fights, those dog fights. We're in each other's face. We're beating each other up. The kind of fights that he's always done well in. Even if he has lost, he's always done really well in those type of fights. But Alex, as you said, he seemed to have his number in that fight.
Yeah, and I don't think he was underestimated. I don't think Max underestimated him at all. I think he took him very seriously. I just think that Alex just rose to the occasion, like really did. And they had really just done their homework. That's great coaching. It's smart. He didn't get tired. Neither did Max, but the pace of that fight was great. Like I said, I was out there jumping rope watching it, and it was great, but Volkanovski just kept powering forward. There were times when they did get to, I don't know if you remember, but Max tried to do a little bit of the llama stuff and the pointing here and let's throw down, because I think he knew, he might have some luck if they got into one of those firefights or something, but Alex never got like dragged into that. And he just seemed to be so smart and composed the whole time. Like he just knew it was, we always hear about people going in title fights or fights like, I just feel like it's all meant to be, and they all, for some reason or other feel like everything's firing, and then maybe it doesn't go their way. But like, I don't know what he was like before that fight. I'd have to go back and look at his composure, but he never seemed like phased at all. Like being in there with Maxie Bate, like at all.
He seemed in the moment the entire time. He stayed focused. He never wavered. When Max had moments, it didn't take Alex off his focus of what he was doing. He got right back on there, punched Max right back in the face. And I know we've expressed this number of times that we love Max on this show.
So much.
We're both very big fans, but having watched that fight, it just seems like it's like the new generation, the new guys in town, the faster guy. And Alex and Max is not an old guy or slowing down or anything, but this is kind of the new guy in town, it seems like.
So what do you do to beat him, though? How does Maxie Baby get it back, right? Because he couldn't switch stance. I'm trying to remember some of the things that they were talking about. And it was funny, too, because I know how much DC loves Maxie Baby. And so you're listening to him call him the fight, and you can tell, like, partly I'm projecting it, but you sort of feel like DC's like, what's happening, Max? What's happening, Max? You know what I mean? And like, I don't know what you would do to coach him differently, right? I mean, in this one, he couldn't switch stance. I guess that was what it was Volkanovski just kept coming at him and didn't give him the chance to sort of set himself up and all that. But if you were Max, what would you, or if you were coaching Max, what would you tell him to do?
That's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, I was just about to say, the good thing about it being a rematch, as you said earlier, their coaches could go in there and just break this fight down. I mean, that's the best thing in the world to say, to go in there and not know the unexpected, and then to have to hope that what we're implementing works, right? That's one thing. You have 2 guys that haven't fought yet. You're making up a style, or you're seeing previous stuff that they've done. But now that these 2 guys have fought, and you can go back and just look at it and say, this is what needs to be corrected. We cannot let him land these leg kicks early in the fight. We cannot let him counter you off your jab. You have to bring the jab back. We make those corrections. And that's what's so beautiful about having a rematch at the championship quality, caliber level. We can see what type of adjustments they make. It just seemed to me, and again, I'm not writing Max off, never would. But it just seemed to me that Alex was the faster guy and the stronger guy. And those are things that aren't going to change in the rematch. So it's going to have to be some very, very good technical, strategic type of adjustments for Max Holloway. But as far as being the faster, stronger guy, that's not going to change. So it's going to have to be some major improvements that he implements. Or just some crazy fight shit that happens now and then.
Well, yeah, Volkanovski has thick legs. We talk about him, former rugby player. He was a much bigger person at one point.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you guys retain power like that, but you hear when you're bigger and you come down, you can still retain a lot of that power, right? So obviously a strong guy. He actually, I guess they were saying he has longer reach than Max, which seems funny because
really?
Max is tall. But yeah, they were saying, I don't have the stats right in front of me. I don't remember exactly, but I thought that was kind of a funny thing. But, it's about obviously actual reach is one thing and using it is another, right? So we know that Max does know how to fight long. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's weird. It's weird to for so long it was all Max. You'd never think Max wasn't gonna win, And then it's weird. You see one thing, you're like, oh, like when John Jones, when somebody finally got a couple minutes in with him, right? Remember the longest time nobody could even get out of a round with him, and then somebody broke that barrier and got through a round, and somebody got through a whole fight and didn't, So I think part of it is that shock of seeing it happen to Max, and we haven't had to see Max come back from that in a long time, right? But we know it happened the first time he lost a long time ago and then went on that crazy run. So maybe the loss was a reset button that Maxie Baby needed, and then you never know. Maybe he just goes off again. So
I hope so. I hope we see this like young, dedicated, not dedicated. This is a silly word.
Right.
He's always been dedicated, but just a fresh guy again. Like you said, maybe something's to it. Maybe there's something there where there was more tactical changes this camp and less grinding in the sparring sessions this week. And maybe that's something that's going to get him there and make him feel fresher for fight day.
Yeah, we hear it all the time too. Like obviously this whole time you've been healing up, like the downtime of less time in the gym and stuff like that. For somebody like Max, who's been in so many wars, I bet his body is thanking him right now. Like I gotta believe it. I'm wondering if anybody's got any thoughts on this one. If people are Well, somebody's asking, should Max go up to lightweight if he loses to Alex? Joe Bose is asking that. Yeah, Alan, do you think he would stay at feather if he loses, or go up?
I think it's a tougher road. Maybe he loses to Alex and then he's like, well, where does that put me if I'm not the champion anymore? It's a much tougher road at 55. I mean, I'll say it. The 55 division is stacked. Just barely a hair more than the welterweight division. But yes. Yeah. If you're trying to go from any division other than 55 and 70 to those divisions, it's a lot more competitive. More fighters, more tougher guys. The top 10, the top 15 guys is more stacked. Maybe Alex is the guy we're going to see that has his number, but he can still stay competitive in a division. But you know what? Max is also a guy that I think has earned the right to do some of these Masvidal, Cowboy Cerrone type things.
Oh,
yeah. If he wants to go to 55 and do a super fight, or if he wants to bounce around and do random fights for money, big fun fights, and he could do that. And again, Max could still win this fight and be the champion, and I'll be eating my words after they fight. But I'm just saying, if he were to lose, he's got that type of name, and he's such the willing type of fighter to take a fight on short notice to go up a weight division. Shit, he can maybe get that that fight with DC that he's been wanting for such a long time. But
right.
You know what I'm getting at. He's the type of guy that has name recognition that can go and fight anywhere at whatever weight division close to that.
Yeah, I was wondering what you were thinking of Maxie Baby's hair these days.
I'm not loving it, I gotta say. I don't know. I liked him when he was kind of. What did he used to do? He used to kind of wear it down. I can't even.
Well, and he had the hard cut part in there sometimes, right? And he would have certain things, but sometimes it was just brushed down. Sometimes he had a little stuff going on. But he was always looking sharp, but. Now he's got it long and.
I don't know. Yeah. Whatever he's feeling, but I wouldn't feel. I wouldn't feel it.
Oh, there's a funny person first to fight 1000 who doesn't want to hear from me, Alan, because he says, why do I have to hear about fighting from a girl that has never competed? LOL. Yeah, I want you to go back and look up John Anik's fight record. You can go up and look up Ariel's fight record. You could look up a bunch of the anchors over at ESPN's fight records. You could, you know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Whatever, dude. Howard Cosell never was a boxer, and he and Muhammad Ali had like the greatest interviews, and like he's like synonymous with boxing. But yeah, okay, I'm a chick.
I think somebody's just trolling, buddy. So we don't
totally,
need to.
Totally. Okay, so listen, there are 3 title fights on this card, one of which is for the open bantamweight title. Okay, so we have Jose Aldo going up against Petr Yan. So Aldo, we know, had a fight with Marlon Moraes. It was a split decision that he lost to Moraes, and a lot of people thought that Jose won. Obviously, Jose Aldo is the legend. Yes, exactly. The GOAT. But again, I have said, like, you know, and you said it a moment ago when we were talking about Max. Like, I feel like there are a couple, I don't want to say patron saints of the MMA Heat podcast, right? But like, we know we've got people that we always root for and that you're always like, I don't care what the circumstances are, I got to go with my guy. So that's how I am with Aldo. He's pretty much one of mine where I'm like, I'm always going to root for Jose Aldo. Yeah. Like and that doesn't mean I can't respect and appreciate and sometimes even love his opponents, but I'm always rooting for Jose Aldo. So in this one, I thought that, yes, he won. It was very close, and clearly the fact that he's getting the title shot means that, you know, Dana said he also thought he won and whatever. So he is going up against Yan. The last time that Yan was out, he head kicked Uriah Faber. That was one that I was watching today again, jumping rope, and that was brutal. Yan is he's a little truck, right? So this should be an interesting fight. One thing that kind of made me not so nervous for Jose was that, you know, in the fight with Marlon, there were times where he did get cracked. You know, as Jose ages, a lot of people are like, oh my God, is his chin going to hold up anymore? Is it going to hold up anymore? Yeah. So he got in some trouble and was able to get out of it. So I saw in the fight with Uriah got in some trouble and was able to get out of it, right? So I was like, okay, yeah, Jose will be fine. Jose will be fine. And then Yan started landing elbows. Yan opened up a big cut on Uriah's face. Head kick, knockout at the end, and then I was like, well, it's a hell of a fight, Alan. It's a really tough fight. Yan is really powerful and fast and this and that and fearless. He didn't look phased at all in there. I don't think that Uriah is at the same place as Jose still, but I think it's a tough fight for Jose Aldo, but one that I am rooting for him to win.
I think you said exactly what was on my mind. I don't think that Uriah is in the same place that Aldo is, even though they're both probably past their prime. But seeing that last performance from Jose Aldo, it showed he still got it. And with some time off, his chin's still there, his speed is still there, his hunger. I mean, you saw him in that fight, like come in that third round and like won it and kept pressing forward. I could see where there would be some slip up in the decision when Jose lost the fight, as they called it.
Yeah.
But I think that he totally won the fight, in my opinion. I think you said you agreed it. Dana White obviously said it. Yeah. Petr Yan, though, that guy's good. That guy is good. That guy is tough. I mean, it's hard to compare what's going to happen just yet, though, because I haven't seen a tremendous amount of Petr Yan's fights, but I did see that fight where he beat Uriah Faber, and he looked like a world beater.
I know.
But he also beat Uriah Faber, who Jose Aldo had beaten and other people have beaten. And Uriah Faber, like as we just mentioned, is not quite where Jose Aldo is at that age. So it'll be a very interesting matchup. I would like to see, I'll be curious to see what happens when they lock horns in the center of their octagon. Who's going to play that power striker? Who's going to be the speed guy? Whose chin is going to hold the test? But I don't know how many, maybe you can help me with this. Petr Yan, has he gone many 5 round fights yet?
That I don't know. That I'm not exactly sure on how. I don't think he's gone 5 rounds. No, because he hasn't main evented on ours.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, I'm just trying to throw some possible question marks out there that we know what Aldo could do. We know he has experience, and we know he's able to do momentum shifts and dig deep when it's needed. We haven't seen that yet with Petr. Nothing that he has shown me so far tells me that he does not have those qualities. He looks like an absolute killer. But it's been yet to be seen.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, right? He's Russian. If we're gonna stereotype, if we're gonna stereotype Brazilian fighter versus Russian fighter, you know that you are literally walking up against a brick wall who, you know what I mean, is going to give you no kind of emotion and no kind of tells in that fight, nothing, right? And he's well-rounded, can do a lot of stuff. When I was in St. Petersburg for the fights last year, Yan was there because, you know, a bunch of like people, he wasn't on the card, but a lot of his teammates and stuff were. So I remember he was staying on my hall, and I remember walking down the hall a few feet behind him at one point. And I'm 5'8", you know, I'm taller than him, but like I said before, he's like this little truck just like walking down the hallway. It was like, holy crap. Like the dude, like he just looked and just so focus. Like, I didn't want to mess with him. Like, I didn't say hi. I didn't like, and he might be nice and friendly. I don't know. I'm very friendly, but I was like, that's just a guy. I'm just going to leave him alone right now. I'm just gonna. Yeah. But of course, Aldo, I think a lot of people think he's frightening and he's like the sweetest guy on the planet. But I just wonder, we know he doesn't throw the leg kicks like he used to. And like I said before, it's like there's been times where he's been in a firefight in a close thing where I thought, oh no, he got cracked. Was it Josh Emmett, right? When he was, or no, was it? Oh, it was Jeremy Stevens. I'm thinking another hard hitter. Yeah. The fight with Jeremy, and Jeremy was giving it to him good. And I thought, oh no, like Jose's going to get laid out. Jeremy lays a lot of people out. And then he was able to survive and come back from that. So I think Jose still got it. I think that last fight proved it. Him at 35, the cut down to 35 again, that makes me that's another thing where I'm a little bit nervous is that Jan, I think that cut is easier for him and he's going to be more, powerful. But what if Aldo did it?
But what about the good news that we've seen in the social media that Aldo's saying so far the cut has been great. It's been better than some of his other cuts. So I don't think Aldo's the kind of guy that would just lie about it. Like, what's the point? You usually, you know how you're feeling during these cuts. And if you're saying he's feeling good, it's positive. It's positive to hear that. And I second that. I would like to see the leg kicks come back. He's got tremendous boxing. Sharp, fast hands, and his chin has proven to kind of come back for him.
Right.
But put the leg kicks in there, mix it up a little bit. I'd like to see that again.
Well, there was that injury, right? I need to judge. That injury from the scooter accident and stuff. And then, there's talk that led to some hesitancy. I just love that the last times we saw Jose, like he looked like Jose again, you know what I mean? Because after the Conor thing, the confidence was shaken. There was up and down performances, and it wasn't looking good for a little while. But he seemed to have righted the ship, and win or lose, like that man is for me one of the key reasons I watch the sport, and he's just incredible. Big Aldo fan. Yeah.
Awesome fighter. Peter, we love you too, man.
Yes, I know.
Aldo has a place. He's been around for so long. So, I mean, you can't compare the two.
Right.
Aldo's been around for so long, making memories. But Peter Yan gets his victory and gets the belt. He's very deserving of it. This guy, he's a killer. Right. He's the real deal. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be good, and I'm glad we will have a new champion. Henry is gone, and maybe he'll come back one day. I don't know, but nice to see. We'll get get a champion in there. In the Bantamweight division. Now, before that, Alan, it's almost a title fight. It feels like one because it is a rematch. Want to touch on a couple of these other fights on the main card before I get out of here. But Rose Namajunas and Jessica Andrade, your little sister, everybody, if you've never thought of this, picture Jessica Andrade. Look at Alan, and then picture Jessica Andrade. A lot of people think you guys look like brother and sister, which I think is totally cute. I can definitely see it. She is such a badass. We know that she won that fight with Rose with the slam, and Rose didn't get out. But I'm excited for that rematch. But I have a feeling it might go Rose's way because Rose was winning the first time, right up until she didn't let go, and So I have a feeling it's going to be Rose, but I don't know.
I mean, I remember watching this fight. I believe I was in New York, and if my memory serves me well, Rose was very dominant in the striking. But whenever Andrade would get in on the inside, Rose kept going for that Kimura lock from the back, or from the front, rather, which is sometimes a good threat if you're really good at it. But it gave handles to Jessica Andrade, and Jessica Andrade finally lifted her up and slammed her, and that's how the fight ended. So it was almost like just take that one mistake away. Just let go, break away at the hips, and then push away and keep it at distance again. Easier said than done, but it was more of a mental mistake that Rose didn't pick up on you, giving her an opportunity to pick you up and slam you, and it eventually ended up happening. So if she can correct that, I don't see why she would not obtain or get the win again, as you mentioned, because she seemed very dominant in that first fight.
Yeah, and Rose is just a sweet girl who, they were supposed to fight earlier. She lost some family members to COVID-19, and Rose is a really sensitive woman. So I'm glad that she is in the right headspace to fight again, because we know that that she's got to be. And if she's there, that means she's ready to rock. And if Rose is ready to rock, you better look out. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. But I love me some Jessica Andrade. We know, I was there when she lost to Zhang Weili. It was tough for her to go all the way to China and lose her title there. Zhang is obviously amazing. So Jessica is like rebuilding. She's so powerful. She's so powerful. And like, Rose just has to use those long arms and that, all that craftiness. And yeah, I mean, like if Rose did what she was doing right the first time, it could go, but it'll be interesting because, right, another rematch. So what kind of adjustments will Jessica have made? Because she knows what she's getting into too.
And Jessica Andrade, as we mentioned, we said it, she picked up Rose and slammed her on the head.
Yeah.
And that's how she retained the belt or got the belt that one time. Jessica Andrade has been in a bunch of fights where she showed her toughness and her strength. When she fought Claudia Gadelha, and Claudia Gadelha at the time was kind of a world beater at the time and the bigger, stronger girl. We thought Claudia Gadelha was the black belt, the better, the more dominant grappler.
Yeah.
And Jessica Andrade did the same thing. She was able to throw Claudia Gadelha around as well. So Jessica Andrade, for being such a small girl, my little sister,
yes,
very, very powerful woman. She always possesses that type of power that can end the fight at any second.
So you see the resemblance, though.
I stood next to her in the elevator one time, and she literally, I mean, she is tiny. She comes up to like my arm somewhere. She's but tiny. I think she had the same haircut as me at the time.
Yes.
She kind of had that hard part.
Yes.
She had just cut her hair real short. And I was like, oh, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. I'll have to put up, maybe I'll put a story side by side, because the last time I saw her was in China, and I was doing an interview with you. Yeah, and she's tiny but you guys still resemble each other. I would say brother, sister, or like, it's cute.
It could be a side by side, me and Andrade, and then it would be Uriah Faber and what's her name?
Liz.
With who?
Liz Carmouche.
Yes, and Liz. Those are the lookalikes.
Totally. I want to see if people have any comments on these, on that fight. If people have any thoughts on Rose and stuff like that. Well, Joe Boza's asking, do you think that the winner gets the next title shot? Because that's the thing. Obviously, these are two former champions fighting each other. We know that Zhang Weili had that incredible fight with Joanna. But so there's a few names that, like, right there at the top, they're rematching. Tatiana Suarez has definitely been on a tear too. She's had some injuries and stuff that she's on the comeback from. But we love us some Tatiana, and that girl can wrestle. So I don't know if the time frame for Tatiana gets in there, but it does make sense that the winner of this could get a title shot.
And I hate to say this against Andrade, but I think a win for Rose warrants more of a reaction for a title shot than it does for Andrade, being that Andrade, the way that she lost the title. But Rose was kind of a girl that, Andrade is the one that took it from her, but Rose has kind of been the one that won such a great champion, and she had to take time off. So if she came back and won, I feel like Rose would have a little bit more of a push for that title shot.
Yeah. And right before that, we are going to see Amanda Ribas in action against Paige Van Zandt. And Amanda, she's a little ball of energy when you're around her. She's just a sweet girl. She's putting fights together. Like, she's got a lot of energy and a lot of positive momentum. I think I have it right here. I'm like, I think she's ranked. So right now, Amanda Ribas is ranked number 14 for strawweights. And so she's going up against Paige, and we just know that Paige has been out for a long time. And I'm not necessarily as much, Alan, trying to get your fight breakdown on this one, but just more so like your take on Paige, right? Because it's so interesting. There's so many people on social media that love to just try to tear her down. When you look at the videos that she posts with her husband, and they look happy, they look content. Whether it's real or not, I don't know. I'm going to trust it, right? I'm going to believe what I'm seeing. I'm going to believe that I just see a cute little happy couple in love, having fun, living their life, living their dreams. But it's incredible to me. So she gets a lot of haters. And I feel like there's as many people rooting for her to fail in this fight as there are rooting for her to win.
Yeah. More money, more problems,
Yeah.
That's the short answer. No. Yeah. I get it though. She puts herself out there in a kind of, for lack of better words, like a cheerleader type of way. I'm happy, go lucky. This is what I do. And it's a lot of promoting, endorsing the products that she gets paid for. And so she receives a lot of hate about that. But I mean, look, who could really hate on you for being happy with your husband and enjoying your life? Like, if you really get down into it and think about it, like, oh, like, look how happy. Yeah. You guys are so corny. Like, okay, you can say a couple things, but like, really, are you going to be mad at them?
Right.
You know, like, it's not like they're doing bad shit in the world. But yes, when a lot of people do not like the fact that she's gotten promoted. But for Paige's defense, she's not happy with the way she's been promoted in the UFC. She's been promoted somewhat. They use her. I mean, look at her. She's on the main card right now on another pay-per-view, but she's not happy with the pay that she's getting. And I believe so, because we share the same manager. Yeah. I believe this could be her last fight on her contract. So this will be a very pivotal fight for Paige, in my opinion, in terms of if she gets the win or the loss, where is she going to go? Are we going to see Paige inside the UFC again, or is she going to try to go somewhere else and get other money? You know, before this whole pandemic and everything going on, I would have said, you know what, there's probably a lot of people offering Paige really good money to go fight somewhere else in another country, another promotion. But with everything going on right now, I would be a little pumping the brakes thinking, you know what, there might be a little bit bigger money somewhere else. But look, the UFC is the only one that's able to rock and roll and put these fights on and allow me to make money right now. So I don't know. As you said, it's not a fight breakdown, but Paige is a good girl, a sweet girl. And she doesn't deserve any of the hate that have been thrown at her. You know, it wasn't really her fault. She came in the UFC. She got the Reebok deal after like 2 fights. Right. And she got on Dancing with the Stars. And when you're able to kind of skip the line like that, you're going to get your mix of haters.
Yeah, well, and to your point, didn't she say that she made more on Dancing with the Stars than she made in all of her fights combined? And so, so when people are complaining about her payday or her marketing in other ways, like, get it, strike while the iron's hot. Like, I'm not mad at you for maximizing your opportunity.
And it also makes me scratch my head, like, man, what is Dancing with the Stars paying? Because maybe I need to get my manager.
Now we need to start dancing.
I need to, I mean, I don't think I would do too well, but man, if she's making good money, I'd be interested to see.
Yeah, I hope so too. I see that our screen has frozen a little bit, but I'm gonna keep going here because I think
Come on, give me
we're all fine. But yeah, so it's interesting to me on that with Paige. I think it's going to be tough for her, though, if I'm honest, because obviously Amanda's been fighting more and has momentum. You know, Paige has that arm injury that she had to have multiple surgeries on. And so, you know, it's frustrating. I think part of the joy that we see in those videos, too, is just her happy that she's actually made it to a fight week. You know what I mean? And she actually gets to, like, do it again. But I think it's a major uphill battle. And I think Amanda Ribas is going to win. But I wish both ladies the best, and I'm happy to see Paige back. And I don't fault her for, you know, for cashing in on her success. I understand that she is one of the people that, you know, Curtis Blades was talking about, and it's like, oh, how come these people are promoted more? And if you actually look at their skill level, you know, the skill level doesn't merit the placement. But, you know, if there's one thing we haven't learned in the last few years or whatever, like, the world is not a meritocracy. Just because you earned something or deserve some, quote unquote, deserve something, doesn't mean you're going to get it. So whatever. I think it's nice to have her back. She's a name a lot of people want to fight. So that's the other thing, is like, you can't get that mad at her because everybody's trying to use her name to get paid off it, right, too. So it's like, well, she, you know, so she knows that too. So that whole thing, what was it, Macy? It was Macy Barber, right? They were going back and forth about all that stuff. But, you know, it's tough because on the one hand, you can see that people have a legitimate claim that it's, quote unquote, not fair what Paige has gotten. But at the same time, life's not fair.
And look, let me just say this real quick. No matter what some of these fighters' skill level or this or that, or they were able to jump the line or not, you can't deny the fact that wherever you place them in skill level or whatever, they provoke interest. People want to see them fight. When you talk about Sage Northcutt, or you talk about O'Malley, or any of these other people that are kind of similar circumstances to Paige Van Zandt, no matter how good they were, when they fought, we watched. When they did the post-fight press conference, we talked about what they said. There's something about them that's interesting that you want to see, win or lose, whatever it is. They're interesting. They had that X factor, and the UFC was able to see that and promote them from it. So you can't get mad at people that are interesting that we want to watch.
Yeah, and I want to say this. I'm not trying to throw Paige under the bus in terms of the fight either. I do think Amanda's going to win, but that's also just because I don't know what kind of fighter Paige is right now, right? Because I know she wanted to get on the submission underground grappling. Her husband Austin was there, and so I know they definitely are into grappling. But it's just that I feel like we haven't seen her fight in so long, so I don't know how she's evolved. We know that she was able to knock out Beck Rawlings with that kick to the face and stuff. So we know her agility from the Dancing with the Stars. We know that she can be physical and stuff. It's just it'll be interesting to see what kind of a fighter she is right now, because I feel like it's been forever.
It's been a while, and look, you got to feel bad for the girl when it comes to the injury.
Yeah.
I mean, to have a bone, to have a huge plate put in your arm, and then to have that bone not heal multiple times, and to get surgery and to go through the healing process, and 6 months, 8 months goes by, and then have to redo it numerous times. She had to have the same arm work on, I think, 3 times for this broken arm. So that I mean, it drains you. I've been there before with multiple injuries. And when you re-injure the same part of your body and you're like, oh my God, the last 8 months, and I have to start all over again. It's draining. So she's very mentally strong, I find, from the stuff that she's been through in her life.
Yeah, but also, Alan, if I'm honest with you, I'm going to if I know that your left hand or arm is busted, I'm going to make you work that all day long and take everything all day long. So Ribas has a target all day long.
It's still plated now, Karyn. It can't be hurt.
Anyway, Alan, listen, so the rest of the card, there are a lot of, I'll see if there's any questions before we wrap up, but it is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 fight card going down at UFC 251. So yeah, there's prelims. Starting with Bantamweight, so 4 prelims, early prelims, 4 prelims, and then we get that main card. So yeah, I mean, there's some other names back in action, like Makwan Amirkhani's fighting, Volkanovski's fighting, Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos is back in action.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's some people here that I'm actually excited to see, but again, I'm not sure if I'll see them because I might be on the plane. I don't know. But also, I wanted to say, so Joe was reminding us, it was 18 months since Paige fought. She and Rachel Ostovich fought.
It's going to be about 18 months by the time I fight again.
Right.
Too. I haven't done the math, but it's a long time. So.
Well, and I feel like it's been 18 months since I worked, right? So I did that show in Brasilia in March, and then so I've just been home. So going to Fight Island, and so for folks, we're still not back all the way with our regular production. So this time I'm actually going to be doing the reporting. John Gooden is going to be anchoring the show. He'll have Dan Hardy and Paul Felder there with him, and then I'll be in the back doing the reporting. So like I said, the Davison Figueiredo versus Joe Benavidez card and the Till Whitaker card. And actually on that one, I got excited because I worked Robert Whitaker's fight at Tough Smashes when he won that. So I was in Australia when he won the Ultimate Fighter, and I don't know, there was something about it. I was like, and that will be in Abu Dhabi. The only times I've seen Robert Whitaker have been really far away, random ass, you know what I mean, kind of cool places or whatever. But I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, yeah, that's so cool that I've literally been around for his whole entire career in the UFC and seen it. And the thing is I remember he was the guy that was everybody's like, I'm going to be the champion. I was like, I believe that man. That guy, I believe, you know what I mean? And so to me, he's just another one of those guys that I'm I've really enjoyed following his career. And I think he's awesome. And I love his honesty, talking about being burnt out and all these things. He's just a good dude. And I think it's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a really good fight, good matchup. You talk about Robert Whitaker. I'm back at welterweight. I mean, the guy won Tough Smashes at welterweight. Am I correct?
Yeah, it was Tough Smashes was lightweights. I think he was. No, it was welterweight way back when.
Didn't have a long stint at welterweight after that. But to think that he wins Tough Smashes, welterweight, moves up to middleweight and becomes the champion is just crazy to think. But this is a good matchup right here, him and Till.
It's a great matchup. But then I got word too that then our work is picking back up, right? So then I did get some assignments for Vegas. So it looks like in August and stuff. And so that's why, you were talking to Sean about, maybe starting to get, something on the schedule for you for fight wise and stuff like that. So it does look like, knock wood, we're going to start to be able to do more stuff and get some of our other stuff back to normal. So I'm excited, at the prospect of getting work again and having it be more consistent and regular, because it's been hard. Alan, I've done a lot of puzzles.
I saw that. I saw your puzzles. I like the last one.
Yeah, the old cars. I figured you would.
Yeah.
Need to take one to Black Betty and stuff. All right. So, is there any questions before we get out of here? Let's see. Anything? Robert Xerxes is asking if I'm working with Bisping there. I don't know, honestly, if Mike is going to be calling the fights and stuff too. So I'm not sure who's working on everything. So I don't know if I'll be on camera with Bisping in Abu Dhabi, but probably, hopefully, some of the upcoming Vegas stuff, hopefully we'll be back with Bisping because he's hilarious. I do love him. All right. Well, folks, I guess that's it. We can just kind of wrap it up here and stuff like that. But yeah, folks, again, apologies if there are any audio issues. I think sometimes what it is too, Alan, is that we need to, Wade might be in the market for a new computer because I think this takes a lot of processing power or something like that. It's YouTube. It's YouTube's fault. Complain to YouTube. But like I said, we do put these up as audio files only. If the video isn't perfect for you, you can find those all at MMA.audio. But thank you so much for joining us for this. So next week, Alan, yeah, it's going to be funky, right? Because I'm going to be on a big time difference and stuff like that. So we'll work it out. We'll figure out a time when we can connect and talk while I'm over there. But because there's a lot, obviously 4 fight cards coming up.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully you get to watch it and then figure out a way that we could do a podcast. We'll have to see, but yeah, it should be fun fights.
Absolutely. All right, folks. You can follow our producer Wade Eck online. He's at Twitter and Instagram and all that. You can also follow MMA Heat on Instagram. I'm KB Heat on Twitter. Karyn Bryant. Alan, where can they find you?
And follow me as well, guys, at Alan Jouban on all my social media platforms.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you guys soon. And Alan, keep your hands up now that you're back to training. Okay.
You know it. Thank you, guys. Y'all take care.